Victor Cost speaking.
Vic, it's Sam. I'm in town and could use a little help.
If you're asking for help, we better do this face to face. And what the hell's going on back there?
I thought you'd recognize the sound. Remind you of anything?
Yeah. Iraq.
I've been on a stealth game kick lately, specifically with the Splinter Cell series. The general consensus with these games is that the third entry, Chaos Theory, is the peak, and the later entries can't match up. I agree with that sentiment, but Splinter Cell Conviction has a special place in my heart.
The crates? Yeah, check. What the fuck?
I've always wanted to do a video on this game, but there's so much to talk about here. I could do a thing about how the character writing in the later games goes for cheap Hollywood action movie schlock, compared to the more low-key tone that the earlier games went for, but I'd have to go through the entire series, and I haven't played either Pandora Tomorrow or Double Agent yet, and I don't like Blacklist as much as I do Conviction. In fact, the reason I like Conviction is that it's so far gone from the core of the series, where Blacklist tried to walk it back, but only half-heartedly. We joke about Nier being the first Sad Dad game since it came out in 2010, but so did Conviction, and I think Sam exceeds Nier when it comes to raw paternal rage. But I won't talk about how everyone in the series has gotten collectively stupider and angrier now that Lambert's dead.
Hit me. Do what you have to do. Okay. Okay, that'll do. Good work.
Shut up. I'm not doing a damn thing until you tell me how you found me.
We're third echelon. We've got an eye on everyone.
I'm really not that emotionally invested in the characters, despite what Ubisoft thinks when it carries over most of the cast from Conviction into Blacklist. And I'm not going to talk about how the writing has made enemy chatter less interesting either, because, although it is definitely a downgrade in terms of overall quality, Conviction actively wants you to hate the enemies, so you won't feel bad when you dome them, whereas the enemy chatter in Chaos Theory is meant to humanize the people you're about to manhandle.
You look troubled. Thunderstorms make me nervous.
Why?
I was a boy in Granada when the Americans invaded in '83. My father was in the army. When he realized we could not win, he led us into the mountains with some of his men, and all of our families.
And?
The Americans caught up with us one night in the middle of a thunderstorm. A thunderstorm like this one.
What happened?
They struck in the dark. We never heard them, never saw them. They timed their fire with the thunder. The bodies dropped in the darkness. With each flash of lightning, there would be more corpses.
I'm gonna catch whoever did this, man. I swear it.
Quit hiding like a little girl! I know you're out there! I know you're here somewhere! Come Son of a bitch!
I lost him. Where'd he go?
I'm gonna find whoever did this, man. I promise you.
What do you think you are? Some kind of ninja?
God damn! Over there!
Oh, great. I did not need to see that. Whoever you are, whoa, shit. Don't you worry, brother. I'm gonna find whoever did this.
Instead, I'm gonna focus on the fourth chapter in the campaign, Diwania, Iraq. Conviction starts with a new character to the series, Victor Costa, being interrogated by faceless torsos. His interrogation is the frame narrative that recounts the events of the story. Think of him as like Nathan Drake's brother, someone who we're supposed to assume the protagonist has known all his life, despite never being present in any past games to establish a relationship. After Sam breaks out of a military base with the help of his old friend Anna Grimm's daughter,
Fisher, I just synced your OPSAT with intelligence on the bank that you and your team gathered back in '89.
The memories.
Yeah. Judging from your report, sounds like it was quite a vacation.
It was, actually. I spent most of the rest of that year sleeping in a ditch on the road between Baghdad and Kuwait.
Oh well, if it's any consolation, I had a bad year that year too.
What? You weren't working for the government during the Gulf War?
No? I was in 10th grade.
Oh, right. Yuck.
Good work, Sam. That shut down the magnetic locks on the windows. Hey, wait a minute. Power spike. The lobby. It looks like a laser grid just came online.
Lasers. Lasers are so...
90s?
I was going to say 70s. Can you please stop making me feel old?
Got bad news for you, Sam. You are old.
Do not lie to me about this, or I'll kill you. You understand me? I will kill you.
Sam, I've been lying to you about this for years.
He contacts his old friend Vic for some help. Before the game shows that meeting, which is in the following chapter, Vic decides to recount the time he and Sam are on tour in Iraq.
Yo, Sam, how's your little girl?
She's doing fine. I got a picture from her in the mail. I think her mom helped her draw.
Nice. My kids don't draw me pictures or write or anything.
They don't write because you can't read, man.
Lock it up. But when I get out of here...
You're going to kindergarten.
You know, I hear they got entrance exams at kindergarten now, Sam. I don't know if Vic's gonna make it in.
Down! Everybody down!
Look out! Don't move!
Sam trusted me because of what we'd been through together in the Gulf. That's why he called me after Third Echelon did their little number on him. He needed someone to watch his back. I was the only one who could.
Husky, this is Wofford Base. We've got a UAV showing 2 men down and your squad leader missing and presumed KIA. Find cover and hold your position. We'll come get you.
And so the mission begins. This chapter isn't just a shift in the timeline, it's also somewhat of a gameplay shift. The game's HUD, which was present for the entire game up until now, is barely existent on the screen except for the weapon indicator and gadget counter. For some reason, the game doesn't display the ammo count for this mission. For the longest time, I was so confused about this chapter. What was its purpose in the game? I don't mean plot-wise because, spoiler warning, we're not playing as Sam in this mission, but as Vic, and we're rescuing Sam from the opposing force. The point of this chapter in the plot is to establish why Sam trusts Vic when he can't even trust his old co-workers.
Thanks for coming back for me, Vic.
You don't leave a brother behind, Sam. You don't leave family.
What confused me about this chapter was the gameplay. Are we supposed to treat this level as a stealth challenge like in every other chapter? We can't mark enemies, which means we can't execute enemies. And we can't force them into becoming human shields to reposition their bodies. The lack of an ammo counter suggests that we have infinite ammo for this section. So are we supposed to play this game weapons hot? That's what it seems like. I'm not sure if this was a prototype for a future Ubisoft Tom Clancy project, but that's how I characterized it for years. But then why does a level design have a layout that suggests we can sneak through? Here's a brief walkthrough of the chapter. The first section is the highway, where Vic wakes up after the ambush. This area starts off with 2 guards facing away from our direction. This is the usual setup you'd see in any other chapter that would signal you to execute both of these guards, as they're too close to pick apart separately without drawing attention. If you're playing this game guns free, this is an easy encounter, but it could alert the guards further down the road. You can easily sneak past these guards so long as you hug the shoulder of the road as you make your way down. The next part of the highway has a pattern that looks like you'd be forced to engage with the enemies, but one of the guards moves out of the way on the left side of the road, which allows us to sneak past. The last part of the highway has way too many guards concentrated around the truck. There's no subtle way out of this. A well-placed grenade toss can wipe out this entire group, and we have enough time to get away before the guards we snuck past earlier can figure out what's going on. The second section is the gas station. In previous runs, I was more or less successful with sneaking through the highway, but I always ended up in a gunfight at the gas station. There's a part midway through the section that looks like we could cut across the field and reach the backlot area, but there's a guard posted next to that path that will always spot us and is blocked off by debris, so we can't take him down from that side. Going through the interior of the gas station shows us an entire group of soldiers posted at the gate armed, but it turns out that we can actually approach the guard from this side without drawing attention to the guards by the gate. There's still a lone guard keeping watch of the backlot, so we can't relax just yet. After the gas station is a residential area. This also looks impossible to sneak past at first. After a few bits of trial and error, I figured out that taking out the guard leaning against these boxes made it so I could sneak over to the truck without getting an alert. I took out this guard just to be safe and picked up a grenade on the nearby table. Soldiers have blocked off the main road, and there are 2 guards keeping watch over the backlot area. One of the guards has a set patrol, while the other one stays posted at a hole in the fence. This was a bit of a brick wall for me, as I wasn't sure how to pick off this guard silently. I might have been able to run up on him if I moved fast enough, but my attempt resulted in shots going off. Ironically, taking out the patrolling guard in a spot that attracted the attention of one of the guards on the main road helped me out. Everyone went into a caution state, which causes them to patrol around, including the guard by the fence. So I took him out and waited until the path was clear to press on. We are now home free. So I tried to recreate this run, and taking out that guard at the gas station is not a safe approach. I redid that section again and again, and I just could not take him out without alerting the guards by the gate. But I did find a more consistent approach to cross over. When you get around this gas truck, move towards the other side. You want to aim yourself in between these 2 boxes, as this area doesn't seem to be in any guard's line of sight. That guard by the gas station can still spot you when you move towards the backlot, but you can finesse past his detection if you roll all the way through. Just be careful about rolling, as it's the same key as sticking to cover, so you might end up hugging this box instead and getting caught. But this approach is definitely way more consistent than trying to attack that guard. As for the residential area, I couldn't find any alternate method to get that guard out of the way. Getting the guards into a caution state can be tense, as their patrol paths overlap and they leave a very small window to move, and there's no guarantee that they won't move around and find the guard by the hole in the fence, which puts them dangerously close to the only safe spot in that area. The rest of the section plays out the same, regardless of whether you go in sneaky or loud. We clear a path towards the school and rescue Sam.
Thanks, Vic.
Yeah, well, don't thank me till we're out of here.
When's backup coming?
Good question. Wofford Base. This is Husky. I got 2 for a ride out of here.
Husky, this is Wolford Base. You are one lucky son of a bitch. We'll have a bird in the air as soon as we can pinpoint your location.
Roger that, Wofford. We are at... We gotta move!
The final set piece involves a shooting gallery where the enemies spawn in ridiculous numbers. Once you take them all out, the chapter ends.
Sorry, Sam.
Husky, this is Baldwin. You still down there?
Watch your ass, George.
Why don't you boys sit your asses down and we'll come get you?
I kind of like this chapter because of the challenge it presents. Conviction's gameplay is very action-oriented, but also very automated compared to earlier Splinter Cell entries, so having a section where I couldn't just rely on my auto-kill abilities made for a welcome change of pace. I'm glad I went back to this chapter to see if I could successfully sneak by most of the encounters. That's one of those white whale challenges I could never pull off before, like the gravity gun only run in Ravenholm. And I like how we were actually playing as Vic the entire time. The game tries to be really coy about it by referring to Sam as the squad leader, and the camera doesn't allow you to view Vic from the front, as if that would give it away, despite being dressed exactly like Sam in the mission. I can't outright recommend Splinter Cell Conviction, as its plot and gameplay can be off-putting, especially for stealth purists, but if you're curious about the game, try it out. but don't try to sneak through this chapter on your first run. It takes some patience and trial and error to figure that out.